Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at this Vobot mini smart dock. So this was provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. So this is going to be available on Kickstarter and some other places, and I'll put a link below in the description to where you'll be able to find this, and I'll try and update those links if that changes in the future. So this is a dock like you might connect to a laptop, tablet, or computer. So this accepts 100 watt PD input, and then you can connect up 4K 60Hz HDMI output, gigabit Ethernet, USB 3. On the side we have more USB 3, and we have PD 90 watt max output here. So you could plug your laptop charger into this and then plug your laptop in here, and that will connect you up to your USB accessories and network. But where this stands out against a traditional dock is that it's a smart dock and it has its own functionality in it. So this is a clear plastic here. We have the screen on the front. We have a thick rubber base, and here we have a button on the side. So this rotates and clicks. There's a button down here. So this also comes with a USB Type-C 3.2 cable that supports 10 gigabit per second. Let me get a measurement on this. So that's around 40 inches. So some of the features you can expect to see on this is a Pomodoro timer, weather calendar, crypto stocks, screen mirroring, to-do list, game emulator, and more. So let's take a quick look at the manual. So here we have the specs. You can pause and read through those. Here's a layout of the components. This talks about the ports and the buttons. So with the rotary encoder, we can short press to confirm. We can rotate it up and down to move the cursor on the screen. Then for the button, we can short press to exit or cancel, and we can long press to restore factory settings. So to set this up, we plug it into a power supply. Then you connect your phone, tablet, PC to the wireless AP displayed on the device screen. We'll connect it up to Wi-Fi. To configure this, you'll go to a website on your local network that's hosted on this device. So you don't have to have a separate app to do that. So this talks about some of the different apps here. This talks about developing your own apps. We have some FAQs. Okay, so let's get this plugged in. So I'm going to be using a 100 watt PD charger. I'll plug that in, and I'm going to plug that in the input in the back. So there we go. It's booting up. Now you can see some flashing here on the screen. I don't see that in person. Here it's telling me to connect to the Wi-Fi hotspot. So I'm going to do that on my computer because it'll be easier to record the screen. So I'm going to connect up to this Wi-Fi hotspot. Next, I'll open up a web browser. So I'll type in the address on the Vobot, which is 10.9.8.7. So it's listing off my Wi-Fi SSIDs. I'll get this configured. Okay, so it's currently setting up Wi-Fi. Now the time just updated itself, so that lets me know it did set up. So I'm going to press the button on the side here that says OK. So it's a little tricky to record this screen. Let me scroll down through here. Let's go to Settings, Network and Internet. And here it's listing off the IP address. So I'll go back to my computer. Now I checked my Wi-Fi and my computer's connected back up to my regular Wi-Fi access point. So I'm going to type in the IP address on the front of the Vobot. So it says enable application settings on your device first. So I already went to home and settings. I'll hit back here. I'll go to application settings. And it says open this link on your phone or laptop. So it's that same IP, but it says apps on the end. So I'll add apps. And now we have the app config page. So I'll back out of here. On my computer, I can change the time zone. So that looks good for now. It has investment symbols. So I'll click on stock here. So it looks like I need to be on that application settings page on the Vobot for this to work on the computer. So I'll search for a stock here. Let's go with Meta. And that's on NASDAQ. So we can see how this is formed in here. I'll type NASDAQ :Meta, and I'll hit Save Config. It says stocks are saved. So before we get out of this, let's go back. Let's go into our app settings. I'll hit Weather. We can type our city name. So I'll do that. State and region. I'll hit Validate. I'll hit Save Config, and I'll hit OK. And then we have our to-do list. So to set this up, we'd go to the to-do list website and get an API token. And then under experimental, we have screen mirroring and game emulator. Let's click on game emulator. So here you could download some ROMs to play on this device. And we have screen mirroring. And this allows you to connect to this using VNC, to have it be a VNC client. Let's step away from the config for a minute and let's look at the Vobot itself. I'm going to turn the light off so we can get a little bit better look. So you can see it's translucent in the back. So we have this colored light. Let's go to the main screen. So I can scroll through the different apps that are installed. Let's go to the timer. Here we have a 25-minute timer. I'll press on this and this will count down, and I can go back with this button. Here we have the calendar. We have our weather, so we have current temperature and conditions. See if our stock is on here. So it currently says loading. See if cryptocurrency. So I'll have to check back at that. This is the PC hardware monitoring. So it has a QR code where we can scan and set that up on our computer. And we have our settings. So I already set up the network. We went through application settings. We have locale. So here we can set our time zone, our temp units, and 24-hour time. We have display and sound. So we can change the brightness here. We can change the ambient light. So this is called breathing. This is flowing water. This is gradient. Or we can turn it off. I'm going to set it back to breathing. Then we have sleep mode, so we can have this go to sleep between these hours. And we have enable buzzer. Next we have miscellaneous. We have enable exit app prompt and experimental features. Then we have tips and support and back up to network and internet. Let's go to now playing. So you can connect to this with Bluetooth. There's screen mirroring, game emulator, Pomodoro. Okay, so I think we've gone through most things there. Let's try connecting a device to this to dock to some accessories. So here I have an iPad Air. Now I may need to blur and cut some things out here for privacy reasons, but I'm going to plug into the USB Type-C down here, and I'll plug that into the PD port on the side. So this is charging now. So now I'm going to connect this up to a monitor. So here we have the iPad screen mirrored on the monitor. Let me try it sideways. There we go. So next I'll plug in Ethernet. So I'll go into the settings and we can see if that's connected. So we're connected to Ethernet at gigabit speeds. Here I have a keyboard and mouse. It has a USB dongle. I'll plug this into the dock. So here you can see the mouse moving around on the screen. Let me pull up an app here. And here I can type on the keyboard connected to the dock. Okay, I figured this out. I had to hit edit in the upper right-hand corner to edit this. So now the keyboard is working. You can even do things like Command Tab to go between the different apps that are open. So we have the iPad over here. I can unplug this. I can take this with me. And when I get back to the office, I can plug this in and I can use this like a desktop PC. Now this requires that you have an iPad with USB-C on it, like the newer iPad Airs and the iPad Pros. So that's the dock functionality of this. Now this is kind of messy looking. Typically you would have this on the back of your desk, not sitting in the middle with the wires covering your desk. So I'm going to clean this up here real quick. We saw earlier that I can load a ROM on here, so I'm going to find a game ROM to load on here so we can test out playing it. So I'm going to cut while I do that, and we'll come back when it's ready to play. Okay, so I have a game installed, and Vobot also provided me with this controller. This will be available for purchase separate. So I'll go to the game emulator, and it wants to pair the game controller, so I'll turn it on. It sees the controller. Okay, and here we have the game. So I'll hit start. So needless to say, this is a very small screen, so I don't know how well I can play this here, but I will try. Okay, so I'm moving around here. Oh, game over. So I kind of sped through that a little bit, but that's how the emulator works. Now if I hit escape, it takes me back to the beginning. Then to exit out of here, I can hit back. So if I want to add more games, I can scroll down and hit add more games, and it directs us to the page to do that. So when you're not using this for the special apps, this can function as a clock and calendar. So let's take a quick look at my little power meter here. So this is currently drawing about 3 watts at idle. Now I don't know if I turned that ambient light off if it would draw a little bit less. And of course it will draw more if you plug a laptop or tablet into it. So that's the Vobot Mini Smart Dock. I think this is a cool little desk accessory. If you're already using a dock to connect your laptop or your tablet to a monitor, keyboard, network, things like that, you could potentially replace it with this. So instead of having just a plain dock sitting on your desk, you have this nice little clock with other functionality in it. So I showed a couple of different apps here. It'll be interesting to see what other kinds of applications Vobot or other people come up with for this. I think one I would probably use actually the most is the weather. especially in the wintertime. I like being able to just glance and see the weather so I know if I'm going outside, if there's potential for slipping, or how much I need to bundle up. So I may revisit this someday as more functionality is added, but that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.